Hello there and welcome to World News Program coming to you live from Algiers on All 24 News, and up next are today's top stories. Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune affirmed that elections are the key to resolving the Libyan crisis during his meeting with Libyan Presidential Council head Mohammed Yunus al-Menfi. The latter expressed hope for Libya's future following the success of elections in Algeria and Tunisia. "65 martyrs were reported in 6 Zionist massacres within 24 hours in Gaza Strip. Algeria condemned the occupation's actions, stating that its criminal sadism drives these massacres against the Palestinians. Also coming up, the Zionist occupation has renewed its aggression on southern Lebanon, and the death toll reaches over 2,360 martyrs. Welcome back to the details. First in our news, Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune officially welcomed the Libyan Presidential Council head Mohammed Yunus al-Menfi at the Algerian presidency on Wednesday. They listened to both national anthems and reviewed saluting formations from the Algerian army. Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune held a private meeting with Libyan Presidential Council head Mohammed Yunus al-Menfi before expanded talks with both countries' delegations, according to a statement from the Algerian presidency. Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune reaffirmed Algeria's stance on the Libyan crisis, emphasizing that elections are the only solution. In a joint media statement with the Libyan Presidential Council head Mohammed Yunus al-Menfi during his official visit to Algeria, Tebboune stated that the final decision lies with the Libyan people and expressed hope for stability that ensures the unity and integrity of Libya.
كانت لقاء مشاورات أخوية. طرقنا الوضع الحالي في ليبيا والعلاقات الثنائية بين ليبيا والجزائر. أعتقد أن خلاصة محادثات تاعنا هو أن اتفقنا على كل شيء، ما فيش ولو سحاب الصيف بيننا وبين الأشقاء الليبيين. نتمنى الاستقرار ليبيا ونتمنى إن شاء الله في أقرب وقت، ونظن هذا هو الفكرة كذلك تاع فخامة الرئيس، أن الحل في ليبيا ما يكون إلا بالانتخابات. لما الشعب الليبي ينطق، الشيء اللي ينطق به الشعب الليبي يفرضه على الناس كل.
The Algerian president emphasized the significance of the upcoming tripartite consultative meeting involving Algeria, Tunisia and Libya.
أتمنى إن شاء الله كل هناء والرخاء والرقي لأشقائنا في ليبيا، ونتمنى إن شاء الله زيارات أخرى، وإحنا على وشك ربما باش نتلاقاو في ليبيا في إطار تشاور ثلاثي القريب إن شاء الله. نستنوا فخامة الرئيس يحدد لنا الموعد إن شاء الله.
Libyan Presidential Council head Mohammed Yunus al-Menfi underscored the importance of successful presidential elections in Algeria and Tunisia, noting that this offers hope for resolving the crisis in Libya through a presidential election.
We commend the electoral process that took place in Algeria and which gives hope to Libya. The success of this process and this electoral gain that was fulfilled in Algeria and in Tunisia gives hope that Libya will be next in organizing presidential elections as soon as possible.
بأن ليبيا أيضا ربما ستكون هي القادمة في انتخابات رئاسية في أقرب فرصة.
The Libyan Presidential Council had expressed gratitude for Algeria's crucial role in supporting Libya at the international forums emphasizing its focus on stability and territorial integrity. He also affirmed his agreement with President Tebboun's vision that the solution in Libya lies with its people.
الدور المهم لفخامة الرئيس.
We hail the important role of His Excellency, the Algerian President, during the previous period in supporting the unity and stability of the Libyan state and in defending territorial integrity, which is a very important issue. Also, for agreeing that the success of the political process in Libya requires the organization of parliamentary and presidential elections. No other solution will yield the desired results. The Libyan people are capable of electing their representatives and the president of their state. The third and important point is the essential role of the Algerian Republic in international fora, international organizations, and on all occasions in supporting the stability of the Libyan issue in its political and security aspects. We noted that this is a sincere support whose sole objective is the stability of Libya.
The Libyan Presidential Council President highlighted the importance of the tripartite meetings, expressing hope that they would continue as a collaborative platform.
We agree today, and this is what we have always expected, on all the files that will lead to stability in Libya and stability in the region, as well as on continuing tripartite meetings, both at summit level and committee level. They will be a model in the future to enshrine the strategic partnership between the two states.
Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune extended an invitation to the chairman of the Libyan Presidential Council to attend the celebrations marking the 70th anniversary of the glorious liberation revolution of November 1st, 1954. The Libyan Presidential Council head Mohamed Yunus al-Menfi left Algeria on Wednesday evening after his official visit. He was seen off at Houari Boumediene Airport by Prime Minister Nadir al-Arabawi and Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf. Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune met with the president of the African Export-Import Bank, Benedict Orama, on Wednesday, according to a statement from the Algerian presidency. The meeting was also attended by Director of the Presidency Office, the Finance Minister, and the Central Bank Director. All right, stick around for the recent updates on the Zionist occupation, genocide, or war on Gaza Strip after the break. The Zionist forces committed 6 massacres in Gaza Strip in the last 24 hours, leaving 65 martyrs and 140 wounded. The Palestinian Health Ministry reports a total of 42,409 martyrs and 99,153 wounded since the Israeli occupation aggression began on October 7th. The government media office in Gaza urged the immediate opening of a safe passage to protect the health system in northern Gaza, which is facing a catastrophic situation due to the ongoing aggression. The office reported continued targeting of healthcare facilities, including threats to destroy 4 operational hospitals and gunfire at Kamal Adwan Hospital's administration room.
The situation in Kamal Adwan Hospital, for example, especially in the nursery department, is going through an unprecedented dangerous phase, and this nursery is the only one in the North Gaza Strip governorate. We call on the international community and all international and UN organizations to open a truly safe corridor to save the health system in the North Gaza Governorate, to ensure the continuation of health services there, and to supply the 4 hospitals with everything they need.
Algeria affirmed that the actions of the Zionist occupation in Gaza violate both humanitarian law and basic human decency. In a speech at an urgent Security Council session convened by Algeria to discuss the situation in Gaza Strip, Algeria's UN representative Ammar Ben Jama stated that the Palestinian people, mainly in Gaza, are enduring unimaginable suffering, attributing these actions to the sadism of the Zionist officials.
Week, nearly 400 Palestinians.
For over a year now, the Palestinian people, especially those in Gaza, have endured suffering beyond imagination. It appears that the sadistic impulses of those responsible within the Israeli authorities knows no bounds when it comes to inflicting torment, inflicting punishment upon the Palestinian civilians. Civilians that must not be a military target. They are protected by the international law. The Israeli occupying power should fulfill its obligation in this regard.
The Algerian diplomat emphasized that using siege tactics and depriving civilians of basic necessities constitutes a war crime and a blatant violation of international humanitarian law.
I thank USG Suya for her sober briefing that serve as yet another harrowing testimony from the humanitarian community. It lays plain the stark reality on how the Israeli occupying authorities are not merely disregarding international humanitarian law, but are trampling upon the very essence of human decency, especially the starvation of civilians as a method of warfare is explicitly prohibited under international humanitarian law.
Ben Jama stated that closing crossing points and using starvation as a weapon is a war method, condemning the occupation authorities for their ongoing extermination of Palestinians.
We have convened today again because the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, particularly in the northern region of the Strip, who has reached a catastrophic level. While the international community celebrates today the World Food Day, Palestinians in Gaza are struggling to find food, basic food. Their present marked by suffering and deprivation, and their future uncertain.
Algeria reiterated its condemnation of the Zionist occupation's massacres in the Middle East and aggression against sovereign states. In a speech at the 75th session of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Algeria's UN representative Rachid Beledhan condemned the attacks on civilians and humanitarian workers in Gaza Strip and the West Bank, as well as aggression against Lebanon, citing a disregard for humanitarian law.
We unequivocally condemn the massacres committed against civilians and humanitarian workers, and we call on the international community to use all its powers to hold the occupier accountable. Unfortunately, the same aggressor continued to completely ignore the basic principles of the international law and humanitarian law, with its violations and invasions of the sovereign state of Lebanon. While condemning these actions, we encourage the Commission to continue providing humanitarian aid to the thousands displaced by the aggressor's attacks.
Hamas condemned the German foreign minister's statement that her government is unashamed of targeting civilians and hospitals for Israeli security. Hamas called this statement a blatant violation of the 1948 Convention of the Prevention of Genocide, and an admission of complicity in supporting the occupation, allowing further genocidal acts against Palestinians.
We express our deep outrage at this statement, which reveals a Zionist Nazi mentality devoid of all human values and principles. It exposes the true German position, one that supports and participates in the crimes of starvation, thirst, and genocide against our people in the Gaza Strip. The German government bears full responsibility for its grave consequences, including political, legal, ethical, and humanitarian implications. Given Germany's insistence on continuing its full support and partnership in the genocide against our people, politically, militarily, and in terms of security, we call on the International Court of Justice to use this statement by the German minister as additional evidence of their government's involvement in this war of genocide.
Now we turn to the latest developments in Lebanon after the break. The Lebanese Ministry of Health reported that the death toll from the Zionist aggression in Lebanon has risen to 2,367 martyrs as the occupation intensifies its bombing of villages and towns in the south, targeting civilians and infrastructure. Usama Ayadi reports.
The Zionist military launched a new wave of strikes on various regions of Lebanon, leaving several civilians dead and others wounded. The attacks were carried out on Wednesday, hitting 3 different locations, including the southern suburb of Beirut and the southern town of Qanat. The Lebanese Health Ministry stated on Wednesday that the Zionist air strikes killed at least 6 people and injured 43 others in the Nabatia region. The same source confirmed that the death toll from the Zionist assault on Lebanon rose to 2,367 civilian casualties, in addition to more than 10,900 wounded.
I consider it a lack of thought and discrimination because you are hitting non-military places. You are hitting Lebanese displaced civilians. If they think that they can scare the supporting environment this way, on the contrary, look at us. We are sitting, eating and drinking, and it is normal.
Municipal headquarters in Nabatia was also part of the destroyed buildings due to the Zionist war machine, as piles of rubble were seen on this major town south of Lebanon. Smoke was seen rising from the rubble of destroyed buildings in Beirut's southern suburbs in the same series of attacks, with craters marking the ground where the strikes hit, leaving the suburbs deserted.
It seems that the situation is only getting worse. Definitely, it's obvious. You see displacement, people not finding places to stay. People got displaced from the south, from Dahiye, from Bekaa Valley, and even from areas of our fellow Christians. They as well got displaced.
Some roads were seen blocked by debris, and the usually busy streets are now empty, lined with damaged storefronts and garbage in the streets. It was one of the most significant Zionist hits yet on a Lebanese territory since the offensive was launched 2 weeks ago, and came despite U.S. concerns about rising death tolls and fears of all-out war in the region.
The Lebanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs has submitted a new complaint to the Security Council regarding the Zionist attacks on Lebanon, seeking to document the aggression and urge for an international action. The ministry condemned the occupying Israel's systematic airstrikes on civilian areas and reiterated its call for the Security Council to enforce the immediate cessation of hostilities and the withdrawal of occupation forces from Lebanese territories. Spanish Defense Minister Margarita Robles stated that the EU countries contributing to UNIFIL view the mission as essential. In a video statement after a call with 15 EU counterparts, she emphasized strong support for UNIFIL's mission, noting that the United Nations alone has the power to decide whether or not to stop the work of this force.
We have come together to stress our concern about the current situation of UNIFIL in Lebanon. We have been very clear in saying that the mission of UNIFIL is essential and fundamental for it to continue to respect the United Nations resolution, that no one other than the United Nations itself can make decisions on this mission, and that therefore we will remain united in Lebanon to defend the values of this resolution.
Defendiendo los valores de esta resolución.
Algeria called for unified efforts to stop Zionist aggression and ensure justice and security for the Arab region. In his speech at the Arab Parliamentary Union's emergency meeting in Geneva, Algerian Parliament Speaker Ibrahim Boughali emphasized the need for practical initiatives to strengthen joint Arab action and confront the Zionist occupation's attempts to incite a destructive war.
Your presence here reaffirms our deep commitment to Arab causes and your dedication to justice and peace, especially amid the existential threats facing our central issue, Palestine. Our brothers in Lebanon and Syria face ongoing aggression and violations as Zionist attacks destabilize the region. Today's meeting is crucial to propose practical initiatives and send clear, unified messages, strengthening Arab cooperation to confront this aggression and secure peace in our region.
And now we move on to national news. Indian President Draupadi Murmu departed Algeria on Wednesday morning after a 4-day state visit. She was seen off at Houari Boumediene International Airport by Prime Minister Nadir Al-Arbawi and government officials. The visit included intensive talks with President Abdelmajid Tebboune and President Murmu, focusing on bilateral cooperation, development prospects, and current regional and international issues. Chief of Staff of the People's National Army General Said Changriha visited the General Staff of the Mauritanian armies on the second day of his trip. After a reception with military honors, General Changriha met with Mauritanian Army Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Mukhtar Bilal Sha'ban to discuss mutual interests and regional security challenges. Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune reaffirmed the state's commitment to defend the interests of the Algerians abroad and facilitate their integration into national reform efforts. In a message for the National Day of Immigration, marking the 63rd anniversary of the October 7, 1961 demonstrations, he emphasized the importance of providing ideal conditions for the Algerian community abroad to engage in Algeria's transformative journey with renewed confidence in the country's potential.
On this National Day of Immigration, I stand in reverence, paying tribute to the souls of the victims of that tragic day. I also salute the sons and daughters of Algeria abroad, reaffirming the state's ongoing commitment to defending their rights and safeguarding their interests. We remain dedicated to providing the best conditions for their integration into the national renewal process and in Algeria's dynamic transformation towards the future. We move forward with confidence in our nation's potential, the expertise of its people, and the awareness of its youth and citizens regarding the challenges ahead. We are determined to fulfill the dreams of our noble martyrs for an Algeria that stands proud.
On this occasion, President Abdelmajid Tebboune emphasized that addressing the issue of the memory demands courage and integrity to overcome the complexities of the colonial past. He stressed the need to move toward a future free from the influence of those who propagate hatred and animosity, remaining trapped in outdated colonial mindsets. Many foreign companies participating in the Africa and North Mediterranean Energy and Hydrogen Conference, NAPAC, have expressed significant interest in investing in Algeria. Jafari Yassini, director of NAPAC, announced that 520 companies from 54 countries, are participating in the conference.
International dans le secteur de l'énergie et des hydrocarbures.
In the global hydrocarbon sector, NAPAC, the largest exhibition in the Mediterranean region, has been exceptional and highly successful this year. Major global energy companies participated, signing numerous agreements. The event saw the attendance of 520 institutions, representing 45 countries, and recorded 15,700 visitors. NAPAC grows every year thanks to Algeria's vast resources and new hydrocarbons law, which has boosted investment and attracted major global energy companies.
More international news stories in this report by Nabil Khazini.
A fuel tanker accident occurred in Jigawa, a northern state in Nigeria. When the driver lost control of the vehicle, the ensuing spill of petrol ignited, leading to a catastrophic explosion that claimed the lives of at least 147 individuals, as reported by police and state emergency services on Wednesday. This devastating incident ranks among the deadliest in recent memory for Africa's most populous country. An Italian Navy ship named Libra on Wednesday arrived at the Albanian port of Schengen with 16 migrants intercepted in international waters. This comes as Italy opened 2 centers in Albania to process thousands of asylum seekers outside its borders. According to the Italian Interior Ministry, more than 54,000 migrants have arrived in Italy by sea this year, compared to 138,000 who arrived last year. The Russian Foreign Ministry announced plans to retaliate against Norway in response to Oslo's decision to reduce Russian diplomatic staff. Russia's embassy in Norway stated on Monday that it would reduce its consular staff to 2 following a demand from Norwegian authorities. Meanwhile, Norway's Foreign Ministry stated on Wednesday that there has been ongoing dialogue with Russia to maintain diplomatic representation in both countries. China is nearing completion of the $300 million Jiangmen Underground Neutrino Observatory in rural Guangdong Province. Located 700 meters underground, the facility has been under construction for 10 years and will soon be sealed for 30 years to conduct experiments and collect data. Once operating, the Jiangmen Underground Neutrino Observatory will be used to study astronomical objects like the Sun and supernovas.
That wraps up our news program for tonight, dear viewers. You can always check our social media platforms for more updates. Thank you for watching. Take care.